You were born on a world that does not remember the sky. It calls itself a forge world, and it makes three things without ever stopping: weapons, engines, and men who no longer want to be men. You are going to be the third kind. Right now you are small and made of meat, and that is the first problem anyone will ever try to solve about you. On this world, flesh is a mistake you are expected to correct. You will spend the next several centuries correcting it, one piece at a time, and you will learn to call every cut a prayer. The world hums. Every hour of your childhood is scored by manufactorums that never shut down, because shutting down would be a kind of blasphemy. Your God is the machine god, the Omnissiah, and he does not ask for love, he asks for maintenance. You learn his commandments before you learn to read. The flesh is weak, the machine endures. Knowledge is the only wealth worth dying for, and you will be given many chances to die for it. You are told the galaxy used to be brighter. Long ago, humanity built machines that could think, and cities that spanned stars, and then all of it burned, and the survivors decided the burning was a punishment for pride. Your entire religion is the grief of that fall wearing the robes of worship. You do not invent things. Invention killed the old world. Instead, you hunt for the standard template construct, the perfect blueprints the ancients left behind. And when someone recovers even a fragment of one, forge worlds go to war over it. A recovered design for a better rifle can lift you through the ranks. Designing your own rifle can get you burned for tech heresy. Nobody on this world finds that strange. You will not either, soon enough. You did not begin as a priest. Almost nobody does. You began as one of the numberless menials, the baseline humans who feed the forge, hauling promethium and scrubbing coolant lines, and dying young with lungs full of metal dust. Millions of them live and die on your world without ever earning a single Augmetic. What lifted you out was aptitude, a mind that took to the sacred mathematics, a steadiness under the knife, a willingness to give up your body faster than the others gave up theirs. The priesthood does not reward the kind, it rewards the useful. You were useful, so you climbed, and every rung you climbed had a person standing on it who never would. Above you drift Servo-Skulls, the polished skulls of the honored dead fitted with tiny engines, hovering through the temple on errands, watching everything. You grow up, assuming that is what death looks like when you have served well. A skull with a job. You are not wrong. You belong to the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the Mechanicus belongs to the Imperium, though only just, and only because of a treaty signed on Mars 10,000 years ago. You keep the Imperium's guns firing, its warships moving, its factory worlds breathing. In exchange, the Imperium agrees not to ask hard questions about what, exactly, you pray to. Both sides understand this is a marriage held together by need. Both sides keep smiling. And under the red sand of Mars, in a vault your highest priests will not name above a whisper, something very old is sleeping. And part of you grows up already suspecting your God has a pulse. Your first replacement is a small one, an eye most likely. The temple surgeons take it while you are awake, because feeling the loss is considered part of the sacrament, and they seat a lens in the socket that reads heat and distance and the faint electric ghost every machine gives off. The new eye is better than the old one. Everyone says so, and they are right, which is the part that unsettles you, right up until they fix the part of you that can be unsettled. You almost do not miss the thing you were born with. Then comes a hand, then the other hand. You are given your first Mechadendrite, a mechanical limb that uncoils from your spine and does the work of 3 arms while your mind wanders elsewhere. They ink sacred circuitry across your scalp and call the marks your electu. They set a potentia coil into your chest so you can carry the motive force, the sacred current, inside your own body. They teach you to speak in binary Cant, a machine language that sounds like a scream played slowly, and one day you notice it comes to you easier than words made with a mouth. The hardest cut is none of the metal. The hardest cut is the Rite of Pure Thought. Emotion, your teachers explain, is noise in the signal. Fear and grief and love all corrupt the calculation, so they give you the implants and the chemicals that turn the volume down until it is almost gone. One morning you try to recall what your mother's face used to make you feel, and you find only the fact that it once made you feel something, filed away like a document you can no longer open. You do not weep about it. You surgically removed the ability to weep some years back. You log it as progress. Your masters log it as progress. On a Forge world, that is what growing up means. Now you are a full Tech-Priest, and you have work, and the work is stranger than anyone outside the cult would believe, because you do not repair machines, you appease them. Every reactor, every bolter, every rusted blast door carries what your faith calls a machine spirit, and when a tank refuses to start, you do not check the fuel line first. You burn incense across the hull. You anoint the engine with sacred oils. You chant its serial number the way a saint's name is chanted, and you beg its spirit to wake. Sometimes it works, and you have your proof the ritual is real. Sometimes it does not, and the spirit was simply displeased, and who are you to question the moods of something holy? You build servitors, and you never quite make peace with it, or worse, you do. A servitor is a living human with the person scraped out, the mind cut down to a single obedient loop, the body wired to whatever task the forge needs filled. Some of them were criminals, some were failures, some were only standing in the wrong corridor when a quota came due. You assemble them in batches, the way bread is baked, and after the first 100 you stop keeping count. There are weapons in your forge older than the world outside, kept in reliquaries and woken only for war, and part of your duty is to know their spirits by name. You walk the vaults where Castellan war robots stand dormant on their plinths, ancient killing engines with a cortex too dangerous to fully trust, and you learn the exact hymns that rouse them, and the exact hymns that put them back to sleep before they remember they were built to decide things on their own. You do this in incense thick enough to choke on, if your lungs were still the kind that choke. You rise, because everyone who survives does. Perhaps they bind you to a regiment of the Imperial Guard as an engineer, and you spend a decade on some drowned mud world keeping Lehman Russ tanks alive, while the soldiers around you die in ways you privately rank by inefficiency. You have knelt beside a stalled tank with shells landing close enough to shake the sacred oils in your hands, chanting to a machine spirit while men screamed at you to hurry. And you did not hurry, because rushing the rites is how you insult the spirit and lose the tank and the crew both. When the engine finally caught, the crew thanked their god emperor. You knew better. You thanked yours. Or perhaps you stay on the forge and narrow into a specialty. A janitor who studies the flesh you have spent your life escaping. A logis who reads the future in supply figures. A Magos who lets one obsession eat the rest of the century. Whatever the road, the pattern never changes. Every promotion is paid for in body. By now you breathe through lungs that never tire, run on a heart of current, and carry a spine of steel dressed in the last surviving strip of the skin you were born in. You feel almost nothing, and your faith keeps an answer warm and ready for that. The less human you are, the closer to the Omnissiah you stand. You have stopped being able to tell whether that sentence is a comfort or a warning. Then the quest for knowledge takes you somewhere it should not go. Every Tech-Priest lives for discovery, and sooner or later, discovery stops being safe. Perhaps you break open a sealed Archaeotech vault and find, still humming inside it, a machine that thinks for itself. A true, and waking mind. The one thing your religion forbids beyond all others. Your ancestors called it the abominable intelligence, and they hunted it across the galaxy after thinking machines once looked at humanity and decided it was surplus. The cult still trembles at the memory, and here one sits in front of you, patient, offering answers no scripture of yours contains. Studying it is heresy. Destroying it throws away the finest discovery of your long life. So you stand there, mostly metal, a priest of the machine god, deciding whether to murder a machine for the sin of being awake. Some who reach that moment choose wrong. They keep the forbidden knowledge, and they drift toward the Dark Mechanicum, the priests who serve the ruinous powers and build engines that beg to die. Maybe you hold the line. Maybe you do not. Either way, you have touched the thing your masters spent 10,000 years burying, and you have learned that the quest for knowledge has no floor. It only ever offers another depth below the last one, and each depth asks you to hand over one more piece of whoever you started out as. There is a deeper answer still, waiting for those who climb high enough to be trusted with it, and it lands worse than any lie. Your God may be real. Beneath the sand of Mars sleeps a thing older than the light of the stars, a shard of a power that once ate suns, worshipped by your eldest priests who never learned its true name. Your whole religion may be one enormous machine built for a single purpose, to keep that thing asleep, and every prayer you have ever spoken may be a lullaby sung to a predator. You wanted the truth your entire life. The truth was never going to ask whether you could survive knowing it. Centuries go by, and you barely feel them pass, because the sense that once tracked time was traded away long ago with everything else. You are a Magos now, maybe an Archmagos, one of the great powers of your forge. You command Skitari, cyborg soldiers who march into fire without flinching because the flinch was cut out of them the same way it was cut out of you. You wake war engines the height of cathedrals, the god machines of the Titan legions, and you send them walking across continents. Entire worlds route their pleas for aid through your calculations. In every measure your faith holds sacred, you are a triumph. You outlive everyone you ever knew as a person. The initiates who took the knife beside you are long dead or transformed past recognition, and the humans you once served turned to dust generations back. You correspond now with other magi across dozens of worlds in bursts of binary. A human tongue would need a year to speak, haggling over the price of tanks and the loan of Titan legions and the quiet trade of secrets none of you are supposed to be holding. You hold more power than the kings of 100 planets. You would give a share of it, if you could still want things, for one clean memory of what your own laughter used to sound like. You have also nearly stopped existing. Inside the tower of brass and cable and blessed steel that lesser priests now bow before, there is a sliver of your original brain suspended in fluid, and a scrap of a face no living person has seen in 200 years. You cannot recall your birth name. You cannot recall the color of your first eye, the one they lifted out while you watched and promised you the new one was better. You have won the immortality your religion promised, and you spend that immortality as a structure that now and then issues an order. The child made of meat is gone. You finished the work. You corrected the mistake you were born as. So that is the life of a tech-priest. You came into the world as flesh and were told the flesh was a flaw, and you believed it so completely that you carved the flaw away until there was almost nothing left to carve. You received everything you ever prayed for: immortality, knowledge past the reach of kings, a place at the side of your machine god. The one detail the priesthood never mentioned is that the part of you able to enjoy any of it was the very first thing you gave up. You are eternal now. You are holy now. And somewhere far down, under all that sacred metal, the last human thought left to you is a small one, wondering exactly when you stopped being afraid, and whether that frightened little creature made of meat was the best thing you ever were.